So yeah, how's everyone doing? I'm doing pretty good. I had a pretty good week at work. I got paid. That's always good. That's always a good thing. Got these boots. The regular price was like 250 something. Got them for 45 bucks. What? What was I talking about here? Oh yeah, hey, my name's Erin Booth and I'm an author in progress. Let's talk about writing. Probably my favorite part of the story. Also, I like the beginning. I like starting new stories and not finishing the ones that I've been working on. We're gonna talk about writing characters that feel like actual people, because that's like the most important part of writing in any genre. If your readers do not believe that these are real people, they're not gonna care what happens in the story and they're gonna have no reason to keep reading. So I've got a few tips for how I like to make my characters, or how I like to humanize my characters. My first piece of advice that you've probably heard before because it is one of the most common pieces of writing advice you'll ever get, yet it's also the one that people seem to struggle the most with, myself included. I'll admit I'm not an exception here. But that tip is to make your character flawed. If it does not cause complications in the narrative or potentially impede readers' ability to like them, then it's not a flaw. Being a little bit clumsy and slender, clearly not athletic, is not a flaw. You kill two birds with one stone. You make your characters seem more human, and you create some more complications and conflict in your story. A lot of people seem to treat flaws and weaknesses as the same thing, and I'm gonna have to disagree. I think that weaknesses are contextual. Say your character is a paramedic, but they're squeamish and they faint at the sight of blood. That's a weakness for them. Whereas if they were, I don't know, say pretty much any job outside the medical field, it's not necessarily weakness. It's a trait that they still have, but it very rarely impedes their everyday life. My weakness is that I don't know how to finish a statement. I say what I say, and I don't know how to stop talking. If you are, say, a customer service representative, then being snarky and sarcastic is not really a strength, it's kind of a weakness. But if you're a comedian, then being snarky and sarcastic is a very good strength. And right along with flaws and weaknesses, give them potentially unlikable traits. According to the Pixar's rules of story building, there's a difference between an agreeable character and a likable character. And I think that's true. Nobody likes a yes man. Don't write your protagonist to be a yes man. Just don't. Give them flaws that could potentially make somebody dislike them. Think of it this way. Pretty much no matter what, people are going to dislike your character. However, if your character has no personality, no opinions, no traits, nothing they really stand for, then people may not dislike them, but nobody's really gonna like them either. I think it's better to have 50% of people like your character and 50% of people dislike your character than to have 100% of people feel lukewarm towards your character. Yeah, side note, completely unrelated to the first couple. I guess moving on to the next chunk of things I'm saying. If you're writing a strong female character, stop. If you put labels like that on her, you're already putting yourself and your character into a box. Let your characters speak for themselves. Write your character the way they are, and if people call them a strong female character, great. I'd rather have people say, a likable, well-written female character than a strong female character, just personally. We're getting to the point where strong female character starts to feel like a sexist stereotype. Not gonna lie. So chill out with the whole not like other girls stuff. Especially the not like other girls stuff, because you can't characterize somebody by process of elimination. You cannot create a character by process of elimination. You cannot establish a character by telling the reader what traits they do not have. She doesn't care about shoes or boys or gossip. Okay, that's nice. What does she care about? She doesn't like rom-coms. Okay, what does she like? You know, she doesn't gossip. Okay, what does she do? Basically, build your character on the traits that they do have instead of the traits that they don't have. Like, I'm seeing this trend where, like, instead of creating a character that just stands out on their own, you're trying to highlight all the ways they aren't like other characters, which they are. Another thing I've noticed is the absence of a personality trait. It's not the same as the absence of a piece of knowledge, common knowledge. There's always something really stupid that you don't know. For example, I recently thought that Rasputin was some kind of fairy dude from like ancient folklore, like pre-Christian folklore. Turns out he was just some real dude who died in like the 20s. Turns out he was just Russia's greatest love machine, and I didn't know that. What I'm saying is, people don't know shit. Having characters not know something can just create more interesting conflict. And also, nobody knows everything, so decide ahead of time, what are some things that your characters don't know or just don't know how to do? Basic life skills that they don't have, like, can your character not cook? Are they bad at math? Do they not know, like, that when you put Mentos in Coke, it goes and makes a geyser? Make them stupid, is what I'm trying to say. Make your characters stupid. A dumbass is pretty much always more lovable than a know-it-all. Here's some other ideas. If you want your character to have a given trait, give it to them in the text. I'm looking at you, J.K. Rowling. If you want your character to be gay, make them gay. If your character is a badass, make them a badass in the story. If your character is, I don't know, if you want to make your character black, you know, say that they're black. It does not count as representation if it's not in the actual text. Don't do a J.K. Rowling and write characters, wait for the fans to come up with a bunch of ideas and characterizations for them and then claim credit for those. That's the most wild thing to me, is like, she's not just writing any damn coattails, she's writing her own fans' coattails. Like, it's wild. Some other ideas. Embarrass the shit out of your characters. It's relatable. Everybody's been embarrassed before. It makes you feel sorry for them. And also it kind of shows what kind of things they're embarrassed about. It shows they have insecurities. Or secondhand embarrass them. You know, like the character themselves is not embarrassed, but everybody around them is, including the reader. That's fun too. Make them a freak, because people are freaks. So, you can make your character a freak. Not necessarily with a sexual fetish. So a fetish. Fetishes are sexual. What am I even saying? Give your character a very strange trait. You know, make them into things that your audience may not necessarily be into. You know, give them things that are very not relatable, you know? You can make characters relatable by making them unrelatable, if that makes any sense at all. I don't think it made any sense at all. It made sense to me. Let's see if I can find another way to say that. Here's an example. My grandparents, back in the 90s, made an absolutely legendary impulse buy. They bought an abandoned farm that's arguably haunted. The house, like the farmhouse, is full of like clown paintings and taxidermy shit. You know, wild shit. They don't farm it or anything, they just ride their four-wheelers around it. And I spent every summer growing up on that farm. It only recently occurred to me that my experiences are not universal and most people did not grow up spending every summer on a haunted farm. You know, there are people who grew up spending every summer like, I don't know, in Bollywood, because that's where their family lives. We give them non-universal experiences. It doesn't necessarily have to be related to the story. I really hope this is making sense. I feel like it's not. But yeah, everybody has an experience that's not universal, or like something they're into that's not popular, like pineapple on pizza. I like pineapple on pizza. Don't sue me. But like, having those weird traits and experiences does not make you less normal. In fact, it makes you more normal, because everybody has those things that nobody else around them can relate to. That's what I was going for. It took me a while to get there. And related to that, give them quirks, but like nestle them into the other personality traits. You know, make your character feel consistent. For example, I sleep with a baseball bat. If I just tell you that, then you're like, okay, sure, fine. But then you compare that with my new boots, boom. Connected them to the video. Like, the fact that I was super excited about the fact that I was able to find some like military grade combat boots with steel-toed. I don't know if you could hear that, but I just knocked on the toes of my shoes and it made a noise. Yeah, tie it in with that. And the fact that I sleep with a baseball bat, and you're starting to see like a personality there. You know, you can start to draw conclusions from that, but you have to ground them in actual personality traits that are concrete and show themselves. Like, I'm constantly talking about conspiracy theories, like, you know, cheese was invented by Big Dairy to get us to eat cheese. I don't think that's actually true. I think that cheese exists because you should not underestimate starving European peasants. What was I even saying? If you hear me talking about, like, say, capitalism and money and shit, and jokingly calling people comrade, and then you look at my new boots, and then you find the baseball bat in my bed, and suddenly those all feel like they make sense together, is what I'm saying. Also, I have anxiety, so there's that. Oh, and this is in line with humiliating your characters. Let them fail. Not just because they were, like, say, misled and betrayed, or because they were missing some crucial information, or maybe they were missing some crucial information because they just didn't know it. You know, like, people just don't know shit sometimes. Let them make human errors. Let them try to shoot the bad guy and miss. You know, let them miscalculate something. Not every mistake has to be part of the grand scheme of the big bad. You know, sometimes shit just doesn't go right. Last tip, you might hate me for this, if not the tip itself, for the fact that I'm calling you out on it, is spend time with people. Talk to people. Real people. Go outside. If you're not like connected to the world of real people, your writing is gonna sound like an alien wrote it. You need to spend time with real people in order to write real people characters. Sorry to break this to you. I know you're probably an introvert, but go outside. That's really too much, like really too much, which I understand. I have anxiety. You can watch vlogs, say Logan Paul. He's a cartoon character. Maybe don't watch Logan Paul's videos because he's a human cartoon character. Watch people's vlogs, read people's like personal blogs, and you can like catch on to the nuances of being a real person. So that's all I have. I still don't have an outro, so